After the Flood, a Legend of Zelda Creepypasta. When the water finally fell, it wasn't blue anymore. The people of the new Hyrule called it a blessing, the gods' mercy, the rebirth of land after 1,000 years of sea. The waves drew back, exposing broken towers, sunken spires, and drowned temples that glittered like bones in the sunlight. Children played in streets that had once been ocean floor. They said the old kingdom had returned. They were wrong. The flood hadn't buried evil. It had preserved it. Arya was one of the first to explore the ruins beneath Castletown. She was a scholar of the old legends, fascinated by the hero of winds and the kingdom swallowed by the sea. When she uncovered the cracked marble steps of a cathedral, she thought she'd found history. Inside, everything was dry. Impossibly dry. Walls still painted with gold leaf. Stained glass that should have shattered centuries ago, depicting a boy in green lifting a blade toward the sun. But the faces in the glass were wrong. The boy's eyes were hollow, his smile stretched too wide. Behind him, the princess wasn't praying. She was drowning. At the altar, she found a mask. It wasn't ornate like the relics from Windfall or Dragon Roost. It was simple. Wood worn black, carved in the shape of a child's face. A tear was etched beneath one eye. When Arya touched it, the air shifted. The silence that had filled the cathedral turned heavy, like the ocean pressing against the walls again. Somewhere deep below, water dripped. And then she heard it. A song. A melody slow and distorted, carried by no instrument, no voice. Just there, crawling into her ears like memory. She left the ruins before nightfall, but the song followed her. That evening, the tide returned early. The horizon disappeared beneath clouds blacker than ink. Villagers ran for the cliffs as waves slammed against the shore. But the water didn't rise naturally. It pulled. The sea wasn't reclaiming the land. It was being dragged back by something unseen. Arya watched from the cliffs as the cathedral she'd entered began to tremble. The spires moved, bending like ribs in a breathing chest. The song grew louder. She couldn't tell if it was in her head or if the entire world was humming along. When she looked down at the mask still clutched in her hand, its eyes had changed. The carved hollows now glowed faintly, like lanterns beneath the surface of a dark sea, and she remembered the prophecy written in the forgotten scrolls. When the waters fall, so shall memory. Over the following weeks, people began to disappear. Entire villages vanished overnight, leaving only salt patterns where their homes once stood. The survivors whispered that the flood was never meant to end, that the gods had drowned the world not to punish it, but to contain something that remembers. In her dreams, Arya saw fragments of another life, a hero with a green tunic, a princess with empty eyes, a red boat whispering prayers to unseen gods. But every dream ended the same, with the sound of waves crashing and a voice whispering, "Again." The sky dimmed for longer each day, and the stars began to fall. The world was looping, not time, but memory itself. One morning the water was gone again. The ocean had vanished overnight, leaving behind miles of wet sand and broken shells. In the center of the old sea, Arya saw something rising, a massive stone door, half sunken and covered in runes. Its surface shimmered like glass, and inside it reflected not her own face, but that of a child wearing her mask. He smiled, and then the sea screamed. The sound wasn't water or wind. It was voices. Thousands. Millions. Every drowned soul from every cycle of Hyrule, crying out as the door cracked open. The world began to flood backward. Rivers reversed. Rain rose into the clouds. The ground bled light. And from the rift between worlds a figure emerged. A small boy with a green cap and eyes that had seen too much. He dragged a sword that scraped against the stone, leaving no reflection. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. The song returned, slower now, pulsing with every step he took. It was the song of time, but broken. He stopped in front of Arya, tilting his head. "Do you remember?" he asked. His voice echoed, as though it came from beneath water. Before she could answer, he pressed the mask to her face. The wood felt cold, alive. Her skin fused with it, her breath catching as the world around her began to blur. She saw the flood again, the temples drowning, the cities vanishing, the endless cycle of rise and ruin. But this time she understood. The flood never ended. It only rewound. Every time Hyrule fell, the gods reset the world, washing away memory, leaving only legends. But memory, like water, always finds a way through the cracks. They found Arya's body days later on the dry seabed, face frozen in a silent scream. The mask was gone. That night, the tide returned again, and in the reflection of the water, if you look long enough, you might see him, the boy in green, walking beneath the waves, searching for the next one who will remember. Because forgetting was never mercy. It was the curse.